Sure enough, everything is still 23 degrees sideways. This is a Polish P64 pistol. It fires 9mm Makarov ammunition. The Polish and Czechoslovakian satellite states, subject states to the Soviet Union, expressed their desire for freedom occasionally in some very odd fashions. One of them was firearms design. Neither country was particularly happy with just using the Russian pattern of firearm, even if the Soviets did force them, because they were a slave state, to use the chosen caliber of ammunition. In the early 1960s, the Poles decided to take the mandated 9mm Makarov and design a pistol instead of using the Makarov PM, which is the Russian pistol. The Poles decided to design a pistol from scratch. Despite a few superficial similarities to the Walther PP series of pistols, namely the disassembly like this, they are completely different firearms and were originally developed independently. Why am I talking about this? Well, realistically, it's because this is an oddball pistol, a 6-round magazine. 6 rounds. In modern doctrine, this is safe to carry with 1 round in the chamber, so you have a total of 7 rounds in the pistol. You can decock it, you can carry it with the safety on or off in the decocked mode, and with the safety off there's a hammer block, so there's no way for a round to detonate just because you drop the pistol or something. So this is safe, what people in the gun world, like me, call an SADA auto pistol. It's remarkably thin, although it's kind of a little bit on the tall side, and it fires a round which in standard specification is about 15% more powerful than a .380 and about 10% less powerful than a 9mm. Pretty potent little pocket gun, and that's what this is considered. This is a pocket-sized pistol. However, this is a police pistol. Now, Polish doctrine at the time had that the sidearm was not a primary combat weapon, so the police and military pistol were very much the same thing. Aside from the enforced Soviet doctrine of the police being military, which, oddly enough, seems to be something a lot of Americans want also. The idea of the sidearm wasn't that it would be a massive, huge thing. You know, we tend to go with something like this, Glock 17. Okay, big, 17 rounds of ammunition. You can do a lot with it. This is a classic police pistol, and that brings up something that makes me feel like the world, at least the United States, is a little bit sideways. 6 rounds, plus 1 in the chamber, if you carry that way. And most police forces I would not advise carrying that way. Perfectly adequate for police. I had a friend when I was in high school in the 80s whose grandfather had given him his old police revolver, which was actually in .22 long rifle. He was a town constable in a small town. And, you know, it was a Ivor Johnson 8-shot? 9-shot? No, Ivor Johnson 8-shot. The H&Rs were 9 shots. 22 long rifle. Now, currently, we have a debate going on in our country. It's a very divisive debate. It's not even a debate. It's an all-out, just fratricidal event about gun control. As you can tell, I'm on this side of the gun control argument. I don't really particularly care for gun control. There are a lot of reasons for that. Most of them are based on liberty and a respect for but distrust of government. Respect for, meaning that I think that I should be armed to assist the government should the need arise. Distrust for, meaning that I should be better armed than most government personnel. Okay, this is a Cold War era or post-Cold War era world, and we have permanent militaries which are better armed than I am, but I still adhere to the original interpretation that I should be, generally speaking, better armed than the police, the sheriffs, the ATF or the Surgeon General's police force. They have submachine guns, or the IRS, for that matter, because I am a citizen and I am sovereign within the United States. But our cultural divide right now has it that this should be possibly all I'm allowed, although the actual goal, stated goal of most people on the progressive side of the American cultural divide is that I should not even own this. In the end, I should own nothing. But the police should have the submachine gun version of this upper. The police get to carry Glock 17s. The police get machine guns. The police get grenade launchers. The police get armored vehicles. And that's topsy-turvy. If anything, I should have better weapons than the police. And this is an interesting cultural divide because you wouldn't expect the American left to actually think that I should be disarmed in favor of police armament. That sounds like crazy world. I grew up around a military family, but around various hippies, counterculture, and the idea that you were going to trust the government to have all of the arms and trust the police to have military weapons was ludicrous. How do you justify that? How do you even get there? The world is very definitely sideways in a very specific way when this is considered, not only is this considered inadequate for self-defense, although it is really perfectly adequate, this is considered massively inadequate for a police firearm. There's a problem with that. I don't know what happened. I've been told that gun ownership is racist, inherently racist. I've been told that Second Amendment support is inherently racist. I've been told that gun ownership is associated with racism. Of course, I've been told that, believing in fiscal conservatism is racism. I don't think racism has any meaning anymore. But, the idea that you would own guns, protect gun ownership, protect civil liberties against the government, against the force of government. How did the liberals decide that's evil? How did the left decide that that's evil? Obviously, they went heavy authoritarian. They want to run the government and tell everyone what to do. I've got that. But, they protest against the police. They protest against ICE. They protest against our armed law enforcement agencies. Yet, they want to disarm the civilian population first. Either they really don't know history, or political fights have overruled moral and ethical stances. This is an icon. This is a symbol. This is a cheap-ass surplus farm gun is what it is. But it is iconic. With every year, regulation makes it more difficult to replace. So instead of just being a tool, it has to become an icon. You have to value this more than it is worth. Because the replacement process is more difficult. Replacement value is higher. It's like a 57 Chevy. They don't make them anymore. You can't get any more. I don't get it. This should be, this is a $175 to $200 surplus pistol. It should be a throwaway. I should be able to beat it up and abuse it on the farm, and you know, if it's dead in 5 years, throw it away. You know, sell the salvageable parts. But it's not that simple anymore. It's also an icon of, well, resistance. Of having this, owning this, means that I stand against everything good and right according to the Democrats. That's bizarre and wrong. You know, I've never shot a person with this. I've shot a couple dozen pigs, half a dozen goats, one coyote. But this is a symbol of, it's an icon of the enemy for the Democrats. I don't get it. Something went really wrong when the Democrats decided that I was more dangerous than the police because a criminal might do something wrong. Not me. I get a background investigation almost every year. I have a concealed firearms permit, which requires a background investigation. My record is clean. I'm trained. I'm a veteran. I'm mentally stable. I am in better condition to carry a firearm than most police officers. But I'm the enemy. And I'm the enemy because I have a gun and I'm not a cop. I don't understand progressives.